So the Supreme Court, what could be next, people might wonder. Well, I'm going to throw out there one thing that maybe we should worry about a little bit, and that's Social Security. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So remember back after the 2004 election when President George W. Bush announced that he had political capital and he intended to spend it? Does anybody remember what he intended to spend it on? Well, he intended to spend it on privatizing Social Security. Now, in so doing, he ran into a buzzsaw of opposition and essentially got pushed back with his tail between his legs. It turns out people don't want to get rid of Social Security. Imagine that. And since then, Republicans have been nursing their wounds, frustrated at the fact that they haven't been able to get rid of this program that was the hallmark of the New Deal. I mean, other New Deal programs they've done a great job attacking. I mean, just look at what they've done to undermine the National Labor Relations Act. Even the FDIC has been undermined. I mean, look at how we have a whole banking system that's evolved, a shadow banking system outside of the banks that are covered by the FDIC, big enough that it was enough to send the world into recession in 2008. But Social Security, well, they just haven't been able to get rid of that, have they? And that's not for lack of trying. I mean, early on in my political awareness, I remember in 1986, when the Democrats were able to regain control of the U.S. Senate, while Ronald Reagan was still in office, in large part as a result of the Republicans' efforts to cut Social Security. Now, if you don't believe that Republicans are intent on getting rid of any benefit that actually helps people, just look at how they haven't given up on getting rid of Obamacare. I mean, were it not for the integrity of John McCain, as well as the independence of Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, the Republicans would have gotten rid of Obamacare. And even without that, they did everything they could to try to undermine it, and continue to block any effort that the Biden administration has made to try to shore up its finances. But in this last Supreme Court term, Republicans have made it clear that things they can't win at the ballot box, they'll just win in the Supreme Court. I mean, people support addressing climate change, and yet the Supreme Court steps in and stops the Biden administration from doing just that, right? In fact, I think it's fair to say that we should be worried about what will happen to Obamacare if another case comes before the Supreme Court. It only survived its last foray to the court as a result of the defection of Chief Justice John Roberts from the conservative majority. And that was before you had the three MAGA justices there, and while Ruth Bader Ginsburg was still on the court. So at this point, it's clear that even if Chief Justice Roberts fights to keep Obamacare in effect, there's nothing stopping the rest of the Supreme Court justices from just dumping it because they feel like it. Well, one step away from there would be Social Security. And part of the argument that the Supreme Court justices have been using is that anything that's not explicitly stated in the Constitution is something that the federal government can't do. Well, to be fair, they pick and choose how they're going to interpret that pretty loosely, but nevertheless, that's their stated argument. And certainly there's nothing in the Constitution that explicitly allows the federal government to implement Social Security. So you can see where that argument would be taking them. Now, I can already hear the people saying, oh, this is just more extreme fear-mongering coming from Mike Greiner again. But yet a number of years when I said that the Supreme Court was coming after Roe v. Wade, people didn't believe me. And not all that long ago, when I said that Donald Trump was going to try to stay in office after the 2020 election, even after he lost, people thought that I was off my rocker. Well, based upon everything that's happened so far, I think if you believe that there's anything too extreme for this Supreme Court to take a wrecking ball to, well, I'm afraid you're kidding yourself in this day and age. Well, I can already hear from some of my fellow Gen Xers and millennials that, hey, it doesn't matter, Social Security is going to be gone soon anyway. But as it turns out, that's not the case. There is a plan that could save Social Security, and guess what? Democrats are fighting for it, and Republicans are fighting against it. If you want to find out more about that, why don't you check out this other video I did a little while ago over here. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.